What's up everyone, this is Pooka, just bringing you a special Pokemon TCG Online game for Halloween. So I just wanted to make this video to say Happy Halloween to everybody. Hope you got some fun plans for tonight. Hope you got your costumes ready, all that good stuff. Obviously I don't have a costume, but I hope you guys do, and I hope it's a fun night for everybody. So I made a special deck just for this Halloween, just the episode I suppose, and it's nothing too crazy, but I figured I'd just go ahead and make one in the spirit of Halloween since clearly I'm not dressed up at all. But let's jump right into it with the deck. So it's nothing too out of the ordinary. Just a Chandelure, Darkrai, Sableye deck. But they're all pretty spooky in their own right. Of course you have Chandelure, who is pretty creepy. It's a chandelier, ghost kind of thing. It absorbs a spirit, which it then burns, and then by waving the flames on its arms, it puts its foes into a hypnotic trance. So, clearly this is a Halloween kind of Pokemon. It is just spooky, it's a ghost, it puts curses on people, it's in the shadows, eerie, everything about it. Chandelure just represents Halloween, alright? Now, in this deck, it's going to be used for the Cursed Shadow ability. You get to put 3 damage counters on your Pokemon when you're active every turn. So it's a pretty nice ability. And then basically the idea is you get your Chandelure into play, you get a dark energy on it, and then you can use Darkrai's Dark Cloak, which gives you free retreat, and then you retreat to Darkrai to do even more damage with Night Spear. So it's kind of a damage spreading deck. You Curse Shadow, set stuff up for knockouts, and then you follow it up with Night Spear, and you can get a lot of multiple knockouts in one turn just through Curse Shadow and Night Spear. They really work well together. So that's really the basis of the deck. Darkrai, scary in his own right, just look, he's coming right at you. Reminds me of Freddy Krueger, where, Darkrai in the anime or the video games, whatever, it's known for giving people nightmares, so Darkrai is like the Freddy Krueger Pokemon. He comes in your dreams, and, well, you don't want him there, that's for sure. And he kind of slashes people up with Night Spear. There you go. So we have Darkrai, Chandelure. We got the little guys too. We got Litwick. Not too scary. It is a ghost, and it does shine a light that absorbs the life energy of people and Pokemon, which becomes the fuel that it burns. So that is actually pretty creepy, now that I think about it. Then we have a Lampent as well. This ominous Pokemon is feared. Through cities it wanders, searching for the spirits of the fallen. Wow. I didn't think these Pokemon were so brutal, but apparently they are. So these are the Pokemon, and then we also have Sableye. Sableye might not seem too scary, but he is a dark Pokemon, and kind of reminds me of a zombie a little bit. Just look at the way he's shaped, and looks like he's gonna have his arms out towards you and kind of slowly walk towards you. And he hides in the darkness, so definitely belongs in this deck. So that is the Halloween theme of the deck. These are the Pokemon. Moving on to the trainers, nothing too out of the ordinary. We have 4 Dark Patch just to help you power up your Darkrai faster. It's just a staple with Darkrai. Nothing to really go into there. We have 4 Catcher as well, staples. Catcher is the best item in the format, hands down. Then we have 4 Ultra Ball. Oop, that's a Tool Scrapper. We have 1 Tool Scrapper. Sorry, I misclicked there, but there's 1 Tool Scrapper, just to get rid of pesky Eeveelites or stuff like that. And then the 4 Ultra Ball, which will allow you to search for your Pokemon, and also allows you to get Dark Energy in the discard pile for your Dark Patch. Pretty simple. We also run 3 Random Receiver, just to kind of help out consistency. You run a high Random Receiver count in the deck just so you can junk hunt for them with Sableye, because they're items. So you can basically junk hunt for a supporter. That's why you always see Random Receiver in such high numbers with Sableye decks. And of course we have Rare Candy to help us get Chandelure into play quickly. You only play 1 Litwick because you want to Rare Candy. You want to get your Chandelure into play as soon as possible. So we play 3 Rare Candy, and then 3 Switch. Now this might seem a little odd. Why would you play Switch when Darkrai gives you free retreat with the Dark Cloak? And that's because you need to use Chandelure's Curse Shadow while it's active. If you're going to use Night Spear and Curse Shadow in the same turn, you need to retreat to Chandelure, Curse Shadow, and then switch to your Darkrai. So you can't retreat twice in a turn. That's why you need to switch here. It's very useful, and it's also been a problem lately where people run stuff like Victini with Dynamo to paralyze you, so high switch count is good in this deck. We play 3 of those. I could see going to 4. And then Super Rod just to get back your Fallen Chandelures and Litwicks, because those are probably going to be easy targets for your opponent. And then just the supporters, 4 Juniper, 4 N, and 2 Bianca. Nothing too out of the ordinary. This seems to be the fairly standard trainer line in a lot of decks these days when you have random receiver as well. 4 N, 4 Juniper seems standard in pretty much everything. And then Biancas are just kind of your third supporter that you kind of need, otherwise you're going to fizzle out. So that wraps up the trainer section. Oh, I forgot there's an energy search as well. There we go. Just one, because you can junk hunt for it. It's just a nice card you can have with Sableye. Doesn't really hurt you to run one less energy, so you might as well run an energy search when you're running Sableye. And then, speaking of the... Oh, we got 3 more trainers, sorry. We have 2 Darkrai. This deck is all about getting multiple knockouts, so you want to do as much damage as possible in as little time as possible. So Darkrai really helps you with Darkrai. You can set up knockouts very easily with Chandelure's Curse Shadow, and then Darkrai will allow you to Night Spear for 110 damage. So this is a very nice card in this deck. I run 2, and then Terrakion is always a big problem, so you run an Eviolite as well. But most of the time you're going to be using Darkrai just because it's so useful to get those knockouts. That extra 20 damage is the extra oomph you need to get some knockouts sometime. And then for the energy, we just have 10 Dark Energy. Nothing too crazy. I have these spiffy Umbreon ones. I'm looking for foil Call of Legends ones, so if you guys have any, let me know. I'll trade you for them. Right now I just have the Heart Gold Soul Silver ones. But that is the deck overall. Just want to look at it one more time. Chandelure Darkrai, your spooky Halloween deck. Go ahead and try it out if you have the cards for it. And that's all there is to it. So I did play a game with this deck as well. So let's get into that, and we'll check out how this deck works in action. So this deck, or this match, I'm going to be playing against someone named Triple H 007. So he is combining wrestling and James Bond in one screen name. Pretty good. Triple H and James Bond are 2 pretty tough dudes. So he starts off with a Sableye. I saw he had a metal energy in his mulligan. You know, it flashed by really quickly, but I saw a metal. So I don't really know what to expect. It could be an Aggron deck, which I don't really mind because Darkrai kind of whoops Aggron pretty badly. I suppose, and there's a Sky Arrow Bridge, that's kind of strange. I suppose it could be a Durant deck. Or it could be, I don't really know, maybe a Kling Klang deck. 2 Sableyes in play though. So I guess we'll find out what it is. My opponent is starting off with a Sableye and a Dark and just Confuse Raise me. Not too big of a deal there. So he puts a Sky Arrow out, which makes me think, alright, I'm probably going to switch to Sableye here. And then if I can get an Ultra Ball and a Dark Patch, maybe I can power up a turn 2 Night Spear, and then that would be devastating. So I get greedy, go for the big play, and it ends up backfiring because I don't even get an energy drop this turn. So that is painful. That's not good for me. And all I'm going to be able to do is Ultra Ball for a Litwick at this point, and maybe we'll try to get some Chandelures going shortly. So my second turn was kind of a bummer, but it could be worse. You know, at least I have a random receiver for a supporter next turn. I'll be alright. So my opponent level balls, and there is Durant. Ooh. Talk about scary things on Halloween. This is not something that people like to play against. Durant was one of the most hated decks of all time. Just milling you out. But it lost a lot of power because of Darkrai. You know, even with that Eviolite on Durant, Night Spear knocks out a Durant in one hit. So I'm feeling pretty confident in this matchup as long as I get a Darkrai powered up. There's really not much that Durant can do. And, you know, I don't know, we'll see. You know, I don't have anything going quite yet, but I got a feeling I can pull out this one just because Durant takes way too long, and I'm probably going to be able to set up multiple knockouts if I get a Chandelure into play. So here is a junk hunt for a level ball, and it looks like he got a crushing hammer as well. So instead of playing anything, I'm just going to use my N. I could have used the random receiver there, but decided to take a little risk. I'm trying to conserve cards in my deck for this one, just because, well, it's a Durant, so you want to try to play as few cards as possible for when they play an N, or when you can play an N later on in the game, it can put cards back into your deck. So I'm just going to Dark Patch to my Darkrai, and then I will Junk Hunt for an Ultra Ball, just so I can get Chandelure next turn, and then the other card really doesn't matter. I might as well just take a switch to maybe get off a Curse Shadow next turn. That could help me out quite a bit. So now I still have 37 cards left in my deck, and I'm going to get a Chandelure into play next turn if my opponent doesn't end me. And he plays an Ultra Ball. So yeah, I'm feeling fairly confident at this point that I'm going to be able to win. He gets a Durant, a fourth one out there, so he can start devouring for 4 now. It's a pretty big deal. But I think I'll be able to knock out all those Durants in time before he decks me out. This is really a hard counter to a Durant deck. The Darkrai and Chandelure. You can spread damage with the Chandelure to multiple Durants, and then set turns where you can knock out 2 at once. So we'll see that in action coming up. I do draw a Chandelure there, so that's very nice. Be able to rare candy into my Shandy. And, you know, I take a look, I'm like, I could do something like go for a Night Spear this turn, but it's probably not going to happen. So I'm just going to play the Super Rod. I'll just retreat to my Chandelure, get a Curse Shadow off, and then I'll be able to switch back to Sableye, and then I'll Juniper, and I'll be able to Junk Hunt once again. So I get to Curse Shadow here. I'm thinking, alright, I'll just put 1 on each of the Durants that don't have energy on it. Basically the idea is, if he puts Eviolite on one of those, I'll just target another one. And I'll be able to use Curse Shadow to spread damage a little bit, and then I can get 2 knockouts at once with Night Spear next turn. So I'll be able to Junk Hunt here for a switch, which will be very nice. And let's see what else. I can get a switch, and I suppose a Dark Patch, just in case he uses a Crushing Hammer to discard my energy. And at this point, I'm pretty much set up. Next turn, I should be able to get like a double knockout, depending on what happens. And depending on how many resources I actually want to use. Now, knocking out 2 Durants at once is actually very big against their strategy because they need to have 2 revives to get those back. And it looks like he's just going to Junk Hunt again. So instead of going for my double Chandelure knockout strategy, I might just be content with knocking out a Sableye here and putting 30 on a Durant. You know, I could take 2 prizes here, but I'd rather save my switches for the big turns. And my hand is loaded with stuff that's going to make sure I can attack whenever I want. I have 3 Dark Patches, a switch, and an Energy Search. So I have access to an energy. I have access to 3 Dark Patches. Even if he gets 3 Crushing Hammer heads this turn, I'll be able to power up my Darkrai. He is pretty much locked down at this point, unless my opponent gets an N and shuffles my hand in. I really don't want anything else. Everything I could ever want in my deck is now in my hand. So he is going to Catcher out Sableye. I don't know why he's doing that. It has free retreat with Sky Arrow, so that was kind of a weird move, but doesn't matter. Looks like he discarded a Dark, so I'll just Dark Patch in case of a Crushing Hammer. Might as well. I mean, it's not going to hurt me at all. And then I'll just retreat to Darkrai here. We'll hold on to my stuff, and then I'll just be able to Night Spear, knock out 1 Durant, and then knock out the one that's got 40 on it, so that 10 from the Curse Shadow really came in handy there. It allowed me to get a double knockout. And then next turn, you know, I got Tool Scrapper, so I can get another double knockout next turn, because I'll just switch to my Chandelure. He does get a Crushing Hammerheads there, but that's, like I said, not a big deal. I'll switch to Chandelure, Curse Shadow, put 30 on the bench, Durant, retreat back to Darkrai with the energy I put on it, and then I'll just be able to knock out both. So I could just retreat and then switch, but I'm deciding it's probably better to just get an energy on this thing in case, you know, he ends me. So I'll just put my energy down while I can. So I'm going to Curse Shadow 3 on that Durant. It's now got 30 hit points left, and you can see the synergy between these two spooky Pokemon. Chandelure spreads the damage. Darkrai, you know, keeps hitting the bench. So things are going well. Get a Night Spear that's active for a knockout, and then the bench Durant for another knockout. And at this point, there's no way for my opponent to really stop me from winning. I have 4 energy on a Darkrai. My Chandelure has an energy, so it gets free retreat. Litwick and Sableye have free retreat because of Sky Arrow. So there's no way for him to really buy time, and there we go. We end up winning. So my Halloween special deck ends up taking the game. And that's going to wrap up this video here, guys. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Once again, have a happy Halloween, everybody. Enjoy, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.